Picture this. You are 32 years old, finally earning what feels like real money for the first time in your life. You have that decent salary you dreamed about in college. But then reality hits. Everyone wants a piece of your paycheck. Your student loans are demanding attention. That dream house needs a down payment. Your retirement account is quietly accusing you every time you log in. And somehow, despite making more money than ever before, you feel more financially stressed than when you were eating ramen 3 times a day. Welcome to your 30s, where financial adulting stops being a nice idea and starts feeling like a survival skill. This is the decade where every big money decision you make either sets you up for financial freedom or forces you to play catch up for the next 30 years. Your 20s were the decade when you were allowed to figure it out. Your 30s are the decade when those decisions start to really count. By the way, my name is Tim. I make these videos to help normal people finally understand how money actually works so you can make calm, confident decisions instead of feeling stressed and confused all the time. If you want clear, simple videos about money without the hype, consider subscribing to the channel so you do not miss the next episode. I am going to walk you through 10 critical money milestones that can make or break your financial future in your 30s. These are not meant to shame you or make you feel behind. Think of them as a financial GPS for this decade. You might already be ahead on some of them. You might feel way behind on others. Either way, this is the roadmap. Milestone 1, eliminate every piece of consumer debt you can, except maybe your mortgage. That means credit cards, car loans, personal loans, lingering student loans, store cards, and that zero-interest furniture financing you half forgot about. Your 30s are usually your prime earning decade. This is when your income finally has some weight behind it. If too much of that money is tied up in monthly payments, you are dragging a ball and chain through the one decade when you could be building serious momentum. Think about it in simple numbers. If you are sending $400 a month to credit cards and $600 to a car loan, that is $1,000 every month that could be building your wealth instead of enriching your lenders. Over 1 year, that is $12,000. Over 10 years, $120,000 before any potential investment growth. That is the difference between having options and feeling stuck. Life in your 30s also gets more complicated. Bigger responsibilities at work, maybe a family, maybe aging parents who need support. Carrying consumer debt through all of that is like trying to juggle while riding a unicycle. Technically possible, but not smart. The goal in this decade is simple. Destroy as much consumer debt as you can and free up your future cash flow. Milestone 2, reach genuine credit score excellence. Aim for 800 or higher. You might hear people say, yeah, I do not care about my credit score. I will just pay cash. But unless you plan on buying a house in actual, your credit score will decide how expensive your mortgage is over the next 30 years. Here is a quick example. Say you buy a $400,000 house. With excellent credit, you might get a 6.5% interest rate. Over 30 years, you will pay around $511,000 in interest. If your score is just a bit worse and you end up at 7%, you are closer to $558,000 in interest. That is almost $50,000 more for the exact same house just because your credit score was weaker. It gets worse. One late payment that is more than 30 days overdue can drop your score by over 100 points and sit on your report for years. One missed payment, tens of thousands of dollars in future costs. The rules are simple. Pay every bill on time. Keep your credit card balances well below 30% of your limits, preferably below 10%. Do not open new accounts unless you really need them. Do not close old cards unless the fees are painful. Quiet, boring discipline here saves you an enormous amount later. Milestone 3, build a real financial plan that looks 30 years ahead, not 30 days. In your 20s, you can get away with guessing. In your 30s, guessing turns into stress. You now have multiple priorities competing at the same time: retirement, housing, debt, maybe kids, maybe business ideas. Without a plan, you are just playing financial whack-a-mole. 1 month you focus on debt, then you panic about retirement, then you worry about college costs, and nothing moves forward in a straight line. I like to think about it with a simple bread framework. B is for budgeting and saving. You need to know where your money goes and how much you need to save to hit your goals. R is for retirement planning. Not just I have a 401k, but Am I on track? And if not, what needs to change? E is for estate planning, which starts to matter if you have kids or assets. A is for asset and tax planning. How do you legally keep more of what you earn and invest? D is for debt management, making sure any debt you carry is intentional and shrinking, not random and growing. At this stage, it can make sense to talk to a financial planner, especially if your situation is getting more complex. The point is not perfection. The point is to stop reacting and start steering. Milestone 4. Build a serious emergency fund, not a token one. In your 20s, people talk about 3 to 6 months of expenses. In your 30s, that range needs to stretch. For most people, 6 to 12 months of living expenses is a better target, especially if you have a family or variable income. The reason is simple. The size and cost of your emergencies grow with your life. A water heater fails. A car repair suddenly costs thousands, not hundreds. A child needs dental work. A parent needs help with unexpected medical bills. Or maybe a big opportunity shows up that requires cash fast. Without an emergency fund, every problem becomes a crisis. With one, problems are still annoying, but not life-altering. Your emergency fund should live in something simple and liquid. A basic high-yield savings account you can access quickly, not in stocks that might be down exactly when you need the money, not locked in a certificate of deposit you cannot touch. You are not trying to get rich with this pile of money. You are buying flexibility and peace of mind so you do not blow up your long-term plans when life gets messy. Milestone 5. By age 40, aim to have around 3 times your annual salary saved for retirement. That is a guideline, not a law, but it gives you a reference point. The average income for a 40-year-old in the United States is roughly $62,000. 3 times that is about $186,000 saved for retirement. If you hit that and keep contributing, compound growth can do a lot of heavy lifting. Starting at around $186,000 at 40, continuing to save and staying invested could reasonably lead to over $2 million by your late 60s. If you are behind, it is not game over, but it is a wake-up call. The math gets harder the longer you wait because compound interest needs time. The key idea here is this: retirement savings in your 30s are not just about the dollars you contribute. They are about the years you give those dollars to grow. Every year you delay taking this seriously is a year of growth you never get back. Milestone 6. Build lifestyle inflation immunity. Your 30s are prime time for lifestyle creep. You get a raise, and your brain instantly decorates a nicer apartment, upgrades your car, adds more subscriptions, and upgrades your vacations. Your income goes up, and somehow you still feel broke. The people who actually build wealth in this decade do one simple thing. Every time their income rises, they lock in higher savings and investing before they let their lifestyle expand. Got a $5,000 raise. Decide in advance that at least half of that raise is going straight to retirement investments or other long-term goals. You still feel like you got a raise, but your future got one too. If you never control lifestyle inflation in your 30s, you can easily end up making 6 figures and still living paycheck to paycheck. The number on your paycheck does not create freedom. The gap between what you earn and what you spend does. Milestone 7. Get basic estate planning in place. This is not about being morbid, it is about being responsible. If you have kids, a house, or meaningful savings, you need simple documents that say what happens if something happens to you. At minimum, that usually means a will, a medical power of attorney, and someone you trust designated to make decisions if you cannot. Without these, courts and default laws decide what happens with your children, your house, and your accounts. That is not a system you want to rely on. You do not need to build a complex legal structure to get started. You can begin with simple, affordable solutions and upgrade later if your life becomes more complex. The point is not perfection on day one. The point is not leaving your family to figure everything out in the worst possible moment. Milestone 8. Treat your health as a financial asset, not an afterthought. Your 30s are often the decade when your body quietly starts sending you feedback. You can still push hard, but you do not bounce back quite as easily as you did at 22. From a money perspective, this matters more than most people realize. The average American will spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on healthcare over a lifetime. A portion of that is unavoidable, but a meaningful chunk is driven by lifestyle choices stacking up over time. Investing in your health in your 30s is one of the highest return decisions you can make, Better sleep, better food, regular movement, and not doing obviously harmful things all reduce your odds of very expensive problems later. This is not about becoming a fitness model. It is about making sure your body can actually carry you through the long game you are trying to play with your money. A strong balance sheet is not very useful if your health forces you out of the game too early. Milestone 9. If you plan to have kids, start thinking about their education early. College costs have been rising faster than inflation for decades. The numbers are big, and it is easy to feel overwhelmed and do nothing. You do not have to fully fund everything to make a real difference. Starting small and starting early matters more than waiting for the perfect moment. Education savings plans like 529 plans in the United States give you tax advantages for money you earmark for schooling. The money can grow tax-free, and if it is used for qualified education expenses, the withdrawals can be tax-free too. Many states also give partial tax breaks for contributions. Even $50 or $100 a month, started when a child is very young, can grow into something meaningful over 15 to 18 years. And if your child does not use it all, there are often options to transfer it or repurpose it. The main point is to stop relying on "we will figure it out later" and give compound growth a head start. Milestone 10. Build true financial confidence by having a system and automating it. Financial confidence is not about never worrying. It is about knowing what is happening with your money, why it is happening, and how it moves you toward your goals. It means you have an emergency fund. You are attacking debt with a clear plan. You are investing for retirement regularly. Your bills are paid on time. Your systems keep working even when you are tired or busy. This is where automation becomes your best friend. Your paycheck lands. A day later, money automatically flows where it needs to go. Savings, investments, debt payments, bills. You are still in control because you designed the system, but you are not relying on willpower every single month to do the right thing. Your 30s are your financial prime time. You probably earn more than you ever have. You still have decades for compound interest to work in your favor, but you also have more responsibilities and more pressure than ever. The choices you make in this decade have an outsized impact on how your 40s, 50s, and 60s will feel. The goal of these 10 milestones is not to overwhelm you or convince you that you are behind. It is to give you a clear path forward. You do not need to fix everything by Friday. You do not need to hit every milestone perfectly this year. You just need to pick the next right one for your situation and start moving. Maybe that means finally getting serious about wiping out your credit card debt. Maybe it means opening a high-yield savings account and building a real emergency fund. Maybe it is increasing your retirement contribution by just 1 or 2%. Small, consistent actions compound just like money does. Your past financial choices are already behind you. You cannot go back and change them, but you can absolutely decide what happens with the next paycheck and the one after that and the one after that. Your future 40-year-old self will not care that you did not start perfectly. They will care deeply that you started.